Hey guys, it's me, Jordin Sparks, and you are checking me out and you know all the things that I would like to talk about only on Stars. So I have been working with Excedrin for the past 3 years now, and it's really a genuine, authentic partnership. They reached out to me and asked if I would want to be a part of it, and it was actually a no-brainer for me because my mom used to suffer from migraines, and I watched her suffer from them growing up. And then I started suffering from them after American Idol. You know, I went from being a high school kid to one of the most recognizable faces on the planet for a second, and it was really crazy. So life got really stressful, and that kind of triggered the migraines that started them. And so I remembered when my mom suffered from them, the only thing she would grab was Excedrin, and that was the only thing that worked for her. So when it happened to me, I grabbed Excedrin. That was the only thing that worked for me. So it relieves my pain super quick. And just to be able to partner with them and talk about this, because it's kind of crazy when you're sitting and you have this migraine and you know your friends don't really understand what it is. They just think it's a headache, like, oh, it can go away, and it's completely not that at all. And I feel like it's good because there are people out there who might feel like nobody really understands what they're going through, or they feel isolated because nobody else experiences migraines like they do. So I feel like being able to sit here and go, hey, you're not alone, and you don't have to be scared or nervous or unsure about talking about it, it's a good thing. That's a good question. How would I describe the stage of my career I'm in now? You know what's crazy is it's been when the next winner of American Idol is crowned, which is in like, I don't know, 2 weeks, it'll be 8 years since I won. So for me, I still feel like it was just yesterday that I got off the stage, but at the same time, I feel like I've been doing this forever. I'm almost at 10 years. I'm almost at a decade in being in this industry, which is crazy because I'm only 25. But I feel like I'm at this point in my life and career that I'm coming into my own. Like I'm waking up in the morning with my feet on solid ground, like, okay, I'm sure of who I am. Like, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know, myself. I know who I am. I'm more confident in who I am. Being myself is enough. And the music that I make is good enough because it's different. I'm never going to be anybody else. I just have to be me. So I feel like I'm in a really, really good space. But I'm also in an area of how would I say it? I guess evolution or growth. 19 to 25 is a really big growth spurt. That's how long it's been since I've had a personal record. So it's been about 6 years. So I've gotten to grow up and live and go through some experiences. And I think that that's a great thing too, because it's just helped me with everything that's going on now. He's just a person. What he does is he's in the same industry as me, but he's very cool. We're having a really fun time. He makes me smile and he's really funny. So that's pretty much all I can say. Well, I've been doing this since I was 17, and my life was an open book when I was on the show. Everybody got to know me each week while I was on the show, so I don't know anything different. I'm used to, being out there and people going, oh, look, she went here and she went there and, she dated this person or she's crying over here. Like, I'm used to that. Although I do feel like there's a way to do it without people having to know everything, if that makes sense. So I'm good with sharing. I've always been that way, so I can't stop now. That would be weird. But at the same time, there are a lot of moments and a lot of things that people don't know. And with social media, I feel like it's kind of overload of information. Like, okay, we don't need to know that. Don't need to see that. You can keep that. Like, I didn't really need to see that on my feed. Like, different things like that. But I pick and choose. But at the same time, you learn lessons. And I learned a lot from my last relationship. I learned a lot about myself and a lot about how crazily everything would go if people see it and they get invested in it. But I can't let that scare me. I can't let that change the way I am, and I can't let that change how I am with a significant other just because something crazy happened or it blew out of proportion, because I think that's always going to happen, especially with what I do. For me to double tap a post or to be interested in one, I guess the things I respond to, look, I love really cute fluffy animals. So I will like those all day. I really love comedy and humor. I love posts that are funny, so I will double tap those all day. And if it's my friends, I love to see what they're doing. I love to keep up with them. So a lot of people that I follow are friends or entertainers that I admire, that I love to see what they're doing, keep up with them. And then there are also some creative accounts that I follow, so like artists and like painting artists and makeup artists and fashion and different things like that. So it just is stuff that I kind of, relate to, I guess, or I just am it draws me to it. Well, I mean, I'm going to try. I have to audition, so then it's in their hands, so we'll see. But I actually, I filmed an indie film not last year, but the year before, and I think they're finally gearing up to try and release it at a festival. It's called The Grace of Jake. They don't have a date yet, but I know that they're really trying to figure out how to do it before summer starts. And then I've been auditioning. I've auditioned for some TV shows. I've auditioned for a couple of movies, and I'm still waiting to hear back on a couple of projects. But I really got bitten by the acting bug. I love doing it. It's so much fun. So music is the focus right now, but if an amazing part came up or anything like that, I'm going to do my best to try and balance it. Okay, I remember it was huge to me because it was the first major tour I had ever been on. And I was on the American Idol tour, and I was doing a duet with Melinda Doolittle, who's one of my best friends. And as we're crossing each other, I just completely fell straight on my bum. And I just kept singing. I just sat on the floor and just kept singing, and I had to get up. I had the biggest bruise, and I remember a couple years ago, one of the fans who was in the first row was taking pictures, sent me the pictures, and I'm just this blur falling on the stage, and I was like, oh my gosh. It was crazy. So that was one of the first embarrassing moments I had. And then I remember at the Super Bowl, it didn't happen, but because the Super Bowl has billions of people watching, well, a billion, I should say, ish. I was completely psyching myself out. I was so nervous. It was at University of Phoenix Stadium in Arizona. The grass is real grass. So I'm standing there in a dress and high heels, and I'm thinking, they're making me walk to the middle of the field. The only thing I could imagine was me falling flat on my face, tripping on the steps, and all of a sudden it being on YouTube the next day and not being able to even sing the anthem. And I was so scared that my dad was standing next to me. I was like, Dad, not now. We can't talk right now. I just can't do it. Luckily, and thank God it didn't happen, but I just saw it happening. I saw the whole thing happening, and I was like, please no, please no. But again, I embarrass myself on a daily basis, so it happens all the time. Well, with ByeFelicia, the mixtape, we were trying to figure out a way to get fans music so that it could, whet their appetite a little bit. Because they've been so patient with me. It's been, like I said, 6 years since I had something personal come out. So I was like, okay, how do we get them music without having to make them pay for it? How do we choose it ourselves to where we can control what we release and how we do it? And so we kind of were sitting and brainstorming, and he was like, well, let's do a mixtape. And I was like, I think that's the best idea ever. Let's do a mixtape. So it was essentially an album sampler. So I hope that whoever liked ByeFelicia, you'll get the album, because that's essentially the sound and the feel that you're going to get. Some of the songs on the ByeFelicia mixtape are going to be on the Right Here Right Now CD. Some of them aren't, and there's also songs that nobody's heard yet that are going to be on the CD. But there's a little bit of everything for everyone. I grew up in the 90s. I love 90s R&B, so Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, Brandy, Boyz II Men, all of that. I grew up listening to, so there's a lot of that type of influence in there. I still have the power ballads, don't worry, I didn't forget those because I love to do them. I also have there's some more upbeat club tracks, there's some really vibey bedroom music, I guess I would say. I don't really know how else to describe the sound. As well as, there's some sad songs, there's some love songs, there's some happy songs, there's some I don't know. It's a little bit of everything. But I do know I'm very excited because since it has been so long, I was really able to grow and evolve with my voice. I got to experiment a little bit with my voice. So instead of being like, "Wah!" all the time, I was able to experiment with different placements of my voice as well. So there's some falsettos. There's some really soft singing. People get to hear my lower register as well. So I'm very, very excited. I'm very excited. You know, I feel like when I think about 90s music and what the appeal is you just felt it. Like, I'm not saying anything against like the pop music now that we have or anything like that, but it's missing feeling. There are a lot of songs that are just, you kind of just listen to them and sometimes they can all just run together and seem like one endless song. Like, I feel like in the 90s, it was just like, you felt what these singers were singing about. And everything was different too in the way lyrically things were written. It was more, I feel like we used better adjectives. I feel like we used better adjectives in the songs and, you know, the wordplay was really clever. And just the sound as well. It wasn't so all the time. It was, there were so many different beats. There were so many different changes. There were lots of key changes. You know, for me, I'm just like, I could listen to it all day. So I'm very excited. And I remember, I think it was 2012 after I did Sparkle with Whitney Houston. We were trying to figure out, I was starting to work on my album and I was talking to them and they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do 90s R&B. It's coming back. R&B is coming back. And they laughed at me. They laughed. They were like, no, it's not. It's all about dance and da-da-da-da-da. And I was just like, okay. And lo and behold, here it comes. And here it is. And I'm just like, I knew I was on the money. I knew it. So I'm very happy with the 90s influence, but I love being able to experiment with different sounds. With Idol, you know, people got to see me sing a different genre of music every single week. So my first album was a lot of pop. My second album had a lot of rock influences, a lot of acoustic influences. This album has a lot of R&B influences. So I'm hoping, you know, eventually I would love to do a Spanish album. I'd love to do a country album. Yeah, that's actually what I started out doing before Idol. I was doing country music. So I wanted to be like kind of like Taylor with a guitar and in country music and doing all of that. So yeah, that's a little fact that nobody really knows. Oh, well, guilty pleasures, I'm not sure. I'm not really guilty of anything that I watch or anything like that or listen to because I'm one of those people that's like, this is so awesome. And everybody's like, Jordan. I'm like, no, but it is. I guess I could say guilty pleasure is Pokemon. I love Pokemon. I love anything Pokemon. I play the game. I watch the TV show. I still have all my cards. When Burger King had the little Pokeballs, I still have those. Like, I have everything. If I'm going to get really sappy, what's really amazing right at this moment is my niece. She is everything. She's almost a year and a half. Her name is Ava, and she's starting to talk. And it's amazing to see her communicate. And she's just this little baby. She's this little tiny thing, and she's pointing at things, but she can't really talk. She can't say it all, but she knows it. And it's just really amazing to see her grow. She is the most amazing thing. Anytime I have free time, I try and get back home to Arizona to see her and to spend time with her. She's my favorite. Yes, I have 11 tattoos. I love, okay, well, I can't show you, but I have this piece on my side right here. It was the most painful one, so maybe that's why it's my favorite, because I went through 4 hours of like bawling and crying and snot and like sweating and like this whole thing. But it's Japanese cherry blossoms, and I love it because in the Japanese culture, the cherry blossoms represent femininity and also how fragile life is, because they only bloom for 3 weeks and then they're gone. So it's like life is fleeting, so you need to live in the moment. And just also, you know, they're beautiful. They're really beautiful flowers. So I have that on my side. And then I have PJ behind my ear, which is my brother's name. We're best friends. We're really, really close. That was the first tattoo I ever got, and he got my name on his wrist. But he was 15, so I was like, Mom, really? You're not going to let him wait until he's older? But it's okay. It's okay. I've got no problems with it anymore. So that one's also a favorite. And then, oh, I have a dove on my side that I got for my mom's best friend, who was like, you know, an auntie to me. She passed away, so it's just a dove in memory of her.